and 261. And frankly, I'm getting confused about whether I support or oppose. How about suspend? Could we have a suspend box to check? I mean, really, basically, it seems like we need a larger cookie jar. And I'm kind of wondering why we don't have a larger cookie jar. I don't want to see the community pitted against each other for important needs on both sides. On the one hand, I realize I live in Nanavali, 1.5 miles from geothermal, and I have been sick in March. I'm sorry that some people don't believe that, but it happens to be true. And actually, I'm just now recovering. So yes, I believe there is an impact, and the health study is important, as well as the correct monitoring to be taken from the fund. That we should be paving roads with this and busing children around and putting speed signs on the road for Haas out of this money? I don't know. I don't know. But, you know, it occurs to me that the state, the county, and OHA are getting huge royalties, you know, from this geothermal, and only to get even more royalties at 1,000 megawatts. Why isn't a percentage of that money coming to Pahoa and Puna? You know, at the big meeting that we had, I put free electricity for Puna on the benefits. You know, these things get wiped off the table so fast, and people are arguing over crumbs, but there's a lot more money there, and we would like access to it. And as far as the percentages from these monies that are being taken called royalties, how a percentage of that should be coming to us here to fulfill all these needs. Because really, the problem with all these towns is that they do not have control over their property taxes. Where is all that property tax money going? Why aren't all these community things being supported by the property taxes? So what the heck is going on? And why are we being forced to think that there's scarcity, that we need to fight over it? This is ridiculous. So, as far as what the fund should be called or what percentages should go here and there, I would say suspend this till you figure it out and it makes sense for everybody, rather than making us fight each other. What's the next one? The evacuation thing, I mean, according to John, me living in Nanavali, at 1.5 miles away, I might decide I want to be relocated tomorrow, especially since I heard the rumor that they're going to start drilling another well. I seem to be impacted, my health, when they're drilling. That's when it seems to me these gases are going into the lava tubes and being dispersed underground. And so if this geothermal is going to help us in our health, then you have to force somebody, the state, the county, whoever the heck it is, to start testing underground. I don't, at a distance, that is not happening. It's easy. You could lower a monitor in Lava Tree Park in that huge fissure down there. Let's try that. I mean, I can't, like I say, I can't give you a pill to raise your IQ, but something different has to happen here. The evacuation, a lot of people say, forget that evacuation. That only allows us to say that we're committed to geothermal and not looking at anything else. It's people that don't live this close or whose health, and the women's health study that Aurora's doing is really showing how many women are affected. I mean, these big, tough guys, okay, they're not being affected as much, they think, and then they usually keel over with a heart attack or cancer before the women. Whatever. But, I think we really need to be looking at this with a lot more, a wider purview over the monies that are really available. And if it is going to be 3 miles, then let it be 3 miles. I mean, Pahoa is within the 3 miles. I know you don't want to go there. But you're going to have to go there at some point if you're going to go 1,000 megawatts or whatever is going to happen over there with PGV. All right, summarize.
Yes, thank you.
Here we go. Wait, I'm summarizing. Solar, 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 solar.
Okay, thank you, Toby. Good morning. My name is Jane Whitefield, and I've lived in Lower Leilani for 15 years. And the first bill I'm speaking about is 256, and this is it's the relocation bill changing the community benefits to public safety fund, and which would include health studies and air monitors outside of the PGV, and also public notification system to advise residents of unsafe emissions. I think when these get established, maybe some money can be jointly held by the community benefits, because we've been hearing today how much good it's doing for the children, and that's extremely important. The one thing I want to stress today, and I did it when I spoke before, is please remember that an EIS has not been done on PVG, and with another well probably to be started soon, since the present drilling well has fizzled out, this is unbelievable. Another dangerous assault on the most active volcano in the world without an EIS. How can we do this? We need to stop geothermal now or move it. And the emergency response bill is the next one that I'd like to just comment on. We need to, it says that the deputy director will prepare an emergency response and evacuation plan for each geothermal facility operation in the county. There is an evacuation plan for the workers inside the PGV, but none for the residents in Lower Puna. So where will we go? And on Bill 2...
Good morning.
Hello. I'm learning a lot by coming to these council meetings and by listening to people. I have lived in this area for about 7 years, and I love the changes that Emily has brought to the community. I think they're important, but listening to the people who live around the geothermal and seeing the PowerPoint presentation, and the fact that the geothermal came in without the standard 10-mile buffer with no EIS is absolutely insane. And so now, as other people have said, you know, it's like we're pitted against each other. I'm not against community improvements, but I think that the money should first go to be for the health and safety of the people who live around the geothermal area. And of course, an evacuation plan is, I can't believe that there isn't one after, what, 20 or 30 years. I do have a question regarding Bill 256. If this proposal is passed, I'm wondering who will be responsible for ensuring the measures outlined in the proposal are implemented in a timely manner. Would it be civil defense? Because it seems to me that these things should have been done a long time ago, and somebody has to be responsible for making sure that they happen. Bill 257, I believe this resolution's time has come, and I thank you for responding to the needs of your constituents. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
On Bill 256, regarding the Geothermal Fund, I would like to thank Councilman Yagong for introducing this bill and also for rewriting its language in the second draft that will be presented today. I also want to thank those members of this council who recommended draft changes during your last meeting, because the end result is a document that is much clearer in its intent. Bill 256 states unequivocally that the purpose of the Geothermal Fund is, quote, to provide for the mitigation of public health and safety concerns raised as a result of living in close proximity to geothermal power generation, unquote. This language is essential. Only a week ago in these chambers, a representative from the county Civil Defense Office spoke favorably about using the Geothermal Fund to support a public safety project in Leilani, even though the designers of that project stated clearly that their project had not been designed with the geothermal disaster in mind. This is exactly why our communities in Lower Puna Makai asked your council to write this legislation, so that the Geothermal Fund be returned to our community's original intent, a source of funding strictly to aid those harmed by geothermal operations. I want to describe for you an experience I had last week. Unless you're someone with a deep connection to the land you live on, you may have difficulty understanding. I encountered a friend I hadn't seen in a while who lives in Puna Gardens, the closest neighborhood to the PGV plant. I asked how he was doing and if the geothermal well drilling was causing him problems. Ron is an easygoing fellow who spends his time gardening, tending bees, and enjoying his grandchildren. He's not a community organizer. He's a quiet guy who likes to mind his own business. He said to me in a bewildered voice, "Everybody is sick in my neighborhood." And then he said, "Bat, I don't want to move. I don't want to move." I doubt you'll ever see my friend's name on a relocation request unless he is forced out due to health problems. He designed and built his home, and he's deeply attached to it. He's planted hundreds of trees in his yard. He grows his own food. At our age, he and I understand we will not have the energy or resources again to build the vegetable gardens we have or enjoy the harvest from the fruit trees we planted and watched mature. If we are forced out of our homes, we are robbed of what is meaningful in our lives. Robert D. Bullard, considered the father of the environmental justice movement, calls this kind of situation in Puna Gardens the theft of land by contamination. Bullard says that when people are forced to leave their homes because a toxic substance has intentionally been placed in their neighborhoods, the company responsible has in effect stolen their land from them. Disproportionately, industries that pollute land until it becomes uninhabitable do so in economically poor communities, where a person's home is usually their only wealth. Bill 256 is a good start, as the very least that can be done. Mahalo. On Bill 257, I support this bill amending the county code to require an emergency response and evacuation plan for geothermal plants. This has been a long time coming, and it is to the credit of Councilman Yagong and this council. I was very pleased to read in the bill that the Civil Defense Deputy Director shall also be required to invite, quote, residents of the affected community to participate in preparation of the plan, unquote. It is crucial that our communities be involved. We know our neighborhoods best. We know where the most vulnerable populations are, who will need to be evacuated the quickest. It would be helpful, however, if you would define residents of the affected community as those living within 10 miles of the geothermal operation or similar wording. The science isn't solid on how far H2S and other gases from underground drilling can penetrate the environment both above and below ground. Specifying a 10-mile radius ensures that the evacuation planning sessions will be open to all community residents who wish to attend. Mahalo again for introducing this legislation.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Let's move.